It's something I forgot to say. So in the video the other day, I made a short out of it on YouTube. There's this lady that just, like, walks up to her car and just puts her hand on the door handle, and then she just stands there, and then she opens it right at the place where they always sink, at the corner of 411. And she just stands there. She just like walks up to it and just stands there. And then opens it. She just walks up to it, puts her hand on the door on the door handle, and then just stands there. And then opens it. Like, how long does it take to open a car door? And people are always doing things like this. And then they open it at a synced moment. And they walk up to it at a synced moment, and then they open it at a synced moment. There's a door opening in the hallway right now. But people are always doing this, so they're just like walking up to a car and just like putting their hand on the door handle and then just standing there. And then just like sometimes, like, she only stood there for like a couple seconds, but sometimes they'll be standing there for like 10 seconds or like longer. They'll just be standing there for a long ass time. And just like either just staring at the door or staring off into space or like whatever. Or just staring at me, even. People are always doing things like this, and then they'll just, like, take forever to turn a car. Like, it takes 30 seconds to turn a car at an intersection. Like, bruh, why does it take so long to turn a car? Things like this are always happening, all the time. There's an engine sound outside of the sink right now. I hear the engine sound again as I'm walking through this doorway. Did you hear it? The people that walk down the hallway are walking, and they're gonna sink when they get in their car. And one of them has a red shirt on. And they've been hitting me with dues. These people that walked out of my apartment, they walked in front of the intersection right as a whitey drove through it. And then they're gonna get in their car. They're walking really slow. They're opening the car doors as a car drives behind the car. And it's a red and blue sink, and then there's another red and blue sink at the intersection. And then there's another blue car, or like a turquoise car. It's another red and blue sink. And then there's another blue truck. And then there's two silver cars sinking each other as the car starts to take off out of the parking lot. And then there's another red truck that's backing up at the same time in the parking lot. And then they're both taking off at the same time as each other, driving forward at the same time as each other. And then the red truck is going to drive by me now. think a siren started when he drove by me. But he was synced with all these other cars, though, and he was synced with the other car in the parking lot when he drove by me. Maybe I don't hear a siren, though. I thought I heard a siren at first. Sometimes they'll be starting the sirens really far away in the distance, like I can barely hear it, or like whatever sound. Like a truck, like one day there was a truck beeping outside a bunch of times, synced, and it was like extremely far away, like I can barely hear it. Like, it's like barely audible. It's like, this is like really, really, really quiet, but it kept doing it sync though. It's like a mile away or some shit. It was crazy. But yeah, when I went to Walmart this morning, there was baby crying synced a bunch of times as I walked through the store. And it was crying synced again when I was at the checkout. There's somebody on a bike that just rode out of sight, synced with cars driving by and shit. But yeah, the baby's crying synced. And then, like, it was crying synced again at the checkout. And then I was at the self-checkout, and there's these two, like, teenage girls at the self-checkout next to mine. They're talking to each other, and they're like, yeah, my dog is dying. Talking about the dog dying. They like to say things about, like, death and dying and shit, and... my cat died, or my dog died, or the relative died, or whatever shit like that. Which I've heard other targeted individuals talking about that. It's a common thing. There's somebody jogging up to the intersection as my water heater turns on, and it also seemed like it was synced with this whitey that drove by, and then there's other cars driving by now that I think they're synced. There's another silver truck coming out right after the silver car goes out of sight, and then there's a black car synced with the silver truck, and then there's a truck synced with that car when it gets to the intersection. And then there's a sync parade, sync chain reaction, those sync tarts.